Hello, welcome to Stockin' It Zombies. I'm Amy, also known as J-Knitma.
And I'm Megan, also known as Just Run It. And this is episode 21, March 13th.
It was a very warm day out here.
Wow. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I had the windows open just to get some cool or some nice and fresh air in.
Mm-hmm.
Both of my
older
children are sick, so they were complaining at me that it was, Mom, it's too cold. I'm like, you just have a fever, honey. Let's get the fresh air in and get all the sickies out. So,
could see that.
Yeah. I think all of the odds and ends and zombie shoutouts and whatever were mine this week. I wanted to say a special thank you to Shannon Lee Sparrow, who is working with us to create some wonderful t-shirts.
Yay!
Yeah. And graphics.
They are super fun.
Yes, super fun. And that'll be, forthcoming, details forthcoming on if you guys would like a t-shirt as well. But we're ironing out the details, but all the same, wanted to thank Shannon because there's a lot of upfront work that's going on.
And she came up with the funnest little design. I mean, it was by far our favorite.
Yep.
I mean, it's not like our button, it's different.
Yep.
So, I am pretty darn excited to get my t-shirt.
I am as well.
Slash tank top, whatever.
Yep. And I think that design will be great on a project bag as well.
Yes.
Another shout out, not to be an infomercial here on all kinds of wonderful branding opportunities with Talking to Zombies, but GI Punk Jen is wrapping up the pre-order thread. She's, I think, rounding it out. She said she had I don't know how many more, but the goodies from us are going to be limited. So here pretty soon, the special surprise that has been going out, because I don't want to wreck the surprise for anybody, but it will be limited. So you are free to order that yarn from her at any time. If you're watching this and it's 2013 and she still has an Etsy shop, and you can contact her and she's free to sell that colorway to any and all who are interested. But the goodies from us are limited. So I sent out my last package to her. And thank you to her. We were talking about it, and I think we counted like 70 skeins of yarn that went out through the pre-order thread. So she has just been busy.
Yes.
Dying.
And speaking of her, somebody posted that they had a hoe and it was in her colorway, or our colorway.
Yeah.
And she said, "That's one nice looking hoe, or good looking hoe," and I was dying. That was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, that's a good looking hoe. Every time I see somebody post a single sock, I'm like, that's a good looking hoe.
Well, stay tuned. You're gonna have to say that for my hoe. Although you kind of had a rut-row hoe.
Yes, I have a rut-row.
A rut-row hoe.
You will see me stalling on my sock progress. I had gone gangbusters and then hit a snafu. Yeah. And now I'm Lar. I'm making progress on Lar because my socks have given me grief and they are put in timeout.
Yeah. Last but not least, Laura Mag, who was one of our first members. I don't know how she ever came upon us, other than probably out there searching for zombies. Sent us some yarns. This is going to be part of the knit along, the March and April self-striping. Do not believe this is a self-striping, but it's she is from Wales, I believe, or the United Kingdom. Those are one and the same, right?
She can yell at the camera, and then really lay
I'm geographically challenged. I go inside a building, just side note for all y'all. I go into a building and I completely get turned around. I have a new job in a new building, and I'm trying to find things, and I'm like,
They've already moved you?
No, I'm just there meeting with folks and meeting my new team and the person I'm replacing and other folks, my manager and whatever. Yeah. So dotted line, dot, 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 dot. I'm starting a new job, and it's very stressful for me. Lots to learn, lots of things to juggle. Anyway, Laura sent this beautiful yarn. It is Ripples Craft, 4-ply, BFL, and nylon. So I think it's going to make some beautiful socks. It's called Jewel Inspired. Let's get some.
Thank you very much.
Yes, very
awesome.
Uncalled for, but just wonderful all the same. And she sent a little notebook. And
I got one too.
Yep. And and
these are ours.
Yes, those aren't for pry it from my hands. Some stitch markers, little yarny stitch markers.
Those will go in the giveaway.
Yes, the giveaway as well. I think we'll pair those up with because the shipping would actually be more than those markers are probably worth. Although, are they a quarter of an inch? I'm getting good at this. And then she also sent some buttons, which buttons got the button
up on the side. Did you?
Oh, yep, here they are. Which are very, I forget what that's called. They're like opaline? No, I forget. Iridescent
shell.
Yeah, something shell. Hearts. And Amy and I were talking about possibly making our daughters something and using the little hearts. So just stinking adorable. So thank you, Laura. I think that's our first member swag.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
That was very cool. I mean, I feel all official and stuff.
Thank you, member, for donating something to our giveaway, and not just because we had the Walking Wispy, right? That was a KL giveaway. But that was an actual shop.
Yes.
This was a member. So
yes, this is part of our community.
Yes. This was Zombie donated. Although Walking Wispy and
yes, they are very active as well.
Yes.
Hang out in our group.
All right. You got any finished objects? Oh, I see an adorable one over there. He is so cute.
He is stripy. He is bright. He is 716 Boss base, which is a DK base in the Passions is On colorway. And
he's matchy to perfection. Diane would be so proud. He kind of looks like he's got knee socks on.
He does, doesn't he? Or that's where his knee bends right there.
Yep. Or he's got knee pads, green knee pads.
He likes to play volleyball on the weekends. Anyway, he's Cecil the Computer Monster, a Rebecca Danger pattern, and it's from the Big Book of Knitted Monsters. So it, if you own that book, I bought the digital version. And I had the paper version as well, but I ended up turning that into a friend, and she is giving it a new home. But so
are his teeth that way, or did you?
No, he's got just one square tooth in Rebecca's pattern. I gave him two little vampire type teeth. But yeah, he was get my computer mojo back.
Yeah.
So.
And she doesn't always have, I think she's got 716 that has, doesn't always have Boss, like she got it specifically for us when I requested it. But this is so soft.
Yeah.
No, I mean, she does normally sell it, but not,
It's not regularly stocked in her
shop, yeah. It's just so soft.
So I thought that he turned out awesome.
Yeah, and is he going to live in your home?
Yes.
Is he
is staying.
We've had Rochesterian.
Yeah, we've had so many monsters leave recently.
Yeah.
He needs to stay in our house, so he's staying with us. Yay! And
what size eyes are those? Those are pretty decent sized eyes.
I think they're 12.
12 millimeter?
Yeah. I have 6, 9, and 12, and these seem bigger than 9.
Yeah.
But if they're not, I don't know. They're either 9 or 12. Because that's all I got. And, he was fun. He was quick. And I entered him into Diane's KAL already. And I hope to get hopping on some zombies, which is jumped to like 41 projects out there. I don't think everybody has a picture, but I was like, ooh, 41 projects. That's probably Diane's KAL.
Yeah.
Going strong. And I'm seeing some really cool zombies because people are just going crazy choosing different yarn that I would have expected, and they just look really cool.
Eyes. I've seen felted eyes.
Sewn on eyes, felted eyes, different mouths. Like some people put little hearts in the mouth. Like it's a little extra girly.
Yeah.
And very cute. So I am enjoying seeing the zombie progress, and I will be knitting up some more.
So I'm not the only one that does that. I go out and look at my serrated, and currently there's only my test knitters and myself. But I'm like, who's gonna have the first one?
Yeah.
Who's gonna have the first one that wasn't a test knitter?
Yeah, and the envelope is doing well-ish. I mean, it's got in the 20s still, so I'm still proud of that. 20 people out there have knitted.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Zombie's growing, and I'm gonna add a few more of my own in there. And that's it. That's all I got, because I would have had a hoe, but, you know, disaster struck. And you'll see that in a minute.
So you had a naughty hoe.
I did. Bad.
Okay, sorry. I'm getting there. I have a hoe. The same hoe that you would have had your hoe not been naughty.
Different color. But
Different. Obviously, we're getting different gauge, right?
Yes. Yes, but Karen just told me, bulky. She just told me that she also is having heels trouble, and I said, "Whoa, stop! Do not go any further," because I did not want her to have the same problem.
Yeah, mine is a little tight, but it's not that bad. So this is the 716. I'll just stick it in front of your face. They don't stink quite yet. I haven't worn them. And it's the skew. So I am absolutely loving how the stripes kind of work their way at a slant up the foot. And I didn't have any issues with mine. I'm doing mine on, I've got this much of another one on US 1s, I believe, and with the zombie yarn from 716, and haven't had any issues. So but I tried yours on too, right? We had like a little trying, and I couldn't get it on. So you're doing yours with the Walking Wisty on ones as well, is what you did, right? So just the difference in the yarn
and gauge,
I guess, yeah. Although normally I'm pretty tight, like in real life and in knitting. No, I'm not all that tight. I've loosened up in my knitting and in my spending.
I was gonna say she's a bit kind of tight.
Yeah, but I'll
just get the side salad.
I like salads. So yeah, this is so addicting. Like I got to, a certain point where you're just doing the increases on one side and the decreases on the other, and it was like and so my poor Larch suffered.
I was gonna say I felt that way as I was doing it, and like I said, I didn't bind it off, and then tried it on, went, oh no, and then I had all my friends try it on that were there. Not a single one, even somebody with really skinny feet that wouldn't necessarily have a problem usually.
Yeah.
And couldn't even get them on. So it wasn't even like a pry these on over my foot.
Well, you had some foreboding last week, right?
I did.
You were like, oh, where go? And I'm just like, whenever I get to that point, like with the Lar, I was like, oh, this doesn't seem right, and so I ripped it out and cast it on like 17 times because it didn't seem right. But how did you modify it?
So here is my skew. You can see that at a certain point it goes to horizontal lines,
which is so cool in and of itself.
Yes. So what I did was I went to where you would put in an afterthought heel on the long side, and then I used the short rowing technique that's at the edge of the leg, and I got it all the way up, and then there's some increasing that you do on the very next row after you're done with the short rowing, and I did that, and then I continued on with the straight knitting, threw in an afterthought heel red here, and then I was like, all right, I kept going. And I got through one stripe repeat so I could measure it, and then I went, okay, I'm done. In the sense that, like,
you have righted.
Yeah. I got rid, and you can see that I still have part of what I had to rip back sitting in here. So, it's definitely not back to where it was. I had to rip all the way back.
It made me sad to watch her. I made sad panda faces at her while she was doing it. It was like, oh, baby. Oh, baby.
So you know, and I guess I should have known better. I don't know, but
So now you get a unique toe and a unique, and there's kind of a surprise, right? So if you're wearing it in a shoe, somebody thinks it just looks like a normal stripy sock, and then you put it on, and then it will be really cool when you do the afterthought heel too, because it'll be like a bullseye right there.
Yeah.
Right? So you'll
have all sorts of pattern going on.
Your eyes will go a little buggy, but I thought it was so neat, and you did the short rows already too, where you do the back and forth
whole sock and ripped half of it out.
You do the back and forth, and then, but you don't do any like wrap and turns.
Right.
You actually, and I could talk about this because it's a free pattern. You actually pick up a stitch in the divot in between the where you turned. And go back, and I thought that was so smart because it actually picks up the color that it was at that time.
Oh yes.
So when I was to the part where I was going all the way around on where you did the short rows, I was picking up with black, but because you pick up
from down below,
it pulls that color up. It's just ingenious. Like the concept of it was just like, oh.
When I learned that kind of picking up, it was the mother, daughter, mother, grandmother. Like, so if the stitch on your needle is the mother, then there's the grandmother below it. So then there's, so when I don't know. That was the method that I learned. And so I've done that kind of pickup before. But yeah, it was pretty clever that it worked well with the slanting stripes.
And I really like the toe. When I first cast it on, when I was just like, here, I think last week, I was like, oh, this doesn't seem right. This doesn't seem right. But when you put it on, and that's your big toe, and then even when it's just gotten a little stretched out from me trying it on and whatever, it's like foot-shaped, right? I mean, your toes do, increase up like that. So have faith if you're casting it on. And I don't know. I put out on Plurk, I may never do a vanilla sock again. I know yours didn't work.
I will be doing lots of vanilla socks.
This is kind of like a vanilla sock, but every other row has something interesting that you're changing, and so it just kept me going. It just kept going. I think there was a night that I stayed up until like 1 o'clock because I was like, oh, I just want to keep going. I'm going. So, and then once you get to the heel, you want to see how the heel turns out and make sure that it still fits because you have a friend who had to rip hers out.
Yeah. Yes, this is very true.
So I should have a full-fledged faux next week. This is kind of my, my hoe. What were you going to say about a hoe? That's a good-looking hoe.
Yes, it turned out well.
It did. I'm very happy with it. I can't wait to be wearing it and like somebody else to be like, I'm wearing my stocking zombie socks, and we can be like, ooh, looky.
And where's this mythical plane?
I don't know. I like
Karen, I guess.
Yarn over.
Okay.
Or
hear that yarn over attendees.
Somebody invites me to their house in England and I go visit them.
Yeah.
Somebody, I believe it was Roxanne, said that she would teach me how to spin if I came out to, I can't remember if it's Norway or Sweden. Norway. So, maybe she bought some yarn and we're going to have matchy socks. You should knit your 716 zombie and then we could have like, ooh, look at, although we have we both worn our shalom at the same time other than when we podcasted?
No, but we did the other one, I mean, it's not the same yarn, but close enough. The woo-woo.
Yeah, yep. We forgot to hit the thing, so I have no idea how long we've blathered on.
Yeah, could be a really long episode, could be really short.
Yep.
So I have Lar progress. So I separated
a ton. And you're to the lace. Isn't the lace addicting?
It is. It's very addicting. I agree.
Super simple, super cool.
I separated, and it looks like it's really gapey right there, but I know that once I pick up the stitches for the button band and whatnot, it's going to snitch right up there and be, about that far apart. But I was telling Megan when I got here that it does seem quite blousy, and she had went down a lot in size and in needles. And so I'm doing as written, and it is very big. But I'm not so concerned that I'm going to stop and rip this out. what? Yeah, everybody's going, why would you do that?
Yeah.
I think that hanging from my shoulders, it's going to be a very nice top, and I'm not going to worry about that. So right now it seems like, okay, it's supposed to be snugger in here, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it does have a lot of ribbing in here.
On the edges.
Like on the side. And then these are ended up being, you know, pretty big ribs in there. 7/4, 7/4. They're pretty much ribbing as well. So they're kind of snugging in. So I think as long as, you know, it won't be a stretched out, you know, pattern when I'm wearing it, right? It won't be like,
yeah.
It'll be just like this in the collapsed form. I think it will look nice. Yeah. So I'm not too worried about it. And I'm excited because I am.
Yeah, you made a ton of progress.
I'm thinking that.
And remember, my lesson learned, that top-down sweaters seem to go really fast at the beginning, and bottom-up sweaters go really fast at the end.
Yes, this I think I have to do 6 repeats, and I'm already to the last part of the second repeat.
Are you decreasing yet?
No.
Okay. You should make sure to read my notes. I think I updated them on my project page because my row gauge was a little off.
Oh.
So I ended up decreasing about every repeat of the pattern versus what they had, which was I think like every 6 rows instead of every 4 rows or something like that. Anyway.
But is that shoulder shaping? Because I'm at the underarm right now.
Yep, okay. I think so. Yep.
Because I'm like, I still have like 6 repeats before I'm supposed to do anything.
No. Sorry, I meant,
well, that's good. I have time to absorb it and look into it. Okay. So, we kind of talked about the skew and how it's getting revamped, and it's going to end up being a hoe, and it might end up being a shorter cuff depending on how much love it gets, and I might decide that, yep, I'm pretty much done and I want to start the second, you know, fun part. And then see what's up.
And that yarn is absolutely beautiful.
Yes, looks great. And then I got...
She is all things stripy. Look at this gal.
This is my Elementary Dr. Watson socks from Spinning Fates. And I think they're turning out super adorable. Even in my large foot, 72 around gauge.
Is that just the Wendy Johnson toe up? Or just
it's an Amy Spindler vanilla.
Okay.
I put Laura's pattern. She has a afterthought heel, whatever. I counted it for Laura. But I'm not following any pattern at all. I just put it under Laura's pattern.
Yeah.
So
I actually have an Excel spreadsheet where like I measure around the foot and then I plug it in and I say this is my gauge, and it tells me how many to cast on, how much to increase to, how far to knit, and depending on what heel you want to do. So I created a little spreadsheet because that's how I roll.
Yeah. I just know my feet.
Yep.
So I did this, and it's going to work. And this might be, I don't know, a smidge big. I'm not sure. But
it does look a little, I mean, compared to your other one.
Yeah, yeah. It is.
But the other one was too tight, so.
But this one stretches a lot.
Because it's on the bias, right?
Yep. And I think that my husband and I kind of wear the same width of sock. It's just the length that changes. So I can like decide later if they're going to be his or mine.
Depending on whether he's been nice to you that day.
Yeah.
Matt.
Well, I have the other one going for him, but it's still in its dismal cuff state. It's been this way for a while, 2 weeks probably. No more progress. Wah wah wah.
Same with yours.
It's a smooshy.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love them. You can't see that in the cuff.
Yeah, it's got greens and blues, and it's
some browns or reds.
Yeah, I think it's the superhero colorway. I'm not quite sure.
You looked like a superhero. She was like,
but
my powers of yarn, I shall defeat you, camera.
This is one of the bags I made.
She's like, ignore her. Don't encourage her. We also decided when we were, after you had ripped out that sock, that we should start like doing some Tourette's type 39, 67 counting in the middle of the episodes so that anybody that's
17.
passing on. What? Huh?
So that you're like, oh no,
Oh no,
where was I? Oh,
do you have any more whips?
No, just the silliness that never. I didn't work anymore on the preemie hats. I didn't work anymore on the hitchhikers. So they're just kind of they're not being worked on.
All right, this is my Larch. Whoop whoop. It now has one arm. I put out on Plurk. I was asking whether or not folks thought I could pull off a one-arm sweater.
Yeah.
Decided just instead of getting a tattoo, which was one of the suggestions, you could show off a sweet knitting tattoo on your other arm. I'm just gonna go ahead and knit the arm. That'll be easier, probably less painful. Although we did just watch The Hangover 2, where the guy gets the
My husband watched that while I was hanging out with you.
yeah.
Like, I had no desire to see Hangover 1.
I can watch just about anything while I'm knitting. So
This is true, but at the same time, it was like, you can watch that without me, sweetie. I do not want to see it.
I finished up the collar, which has a very cool little bind off. So it's almost like a half Jenny Super Stretchy. Like you purl the pearls and then the knits you knit, and you don't, well, I guess it's not really like Jenny's at all, but it's super stretchy, which is nice. I might reuse it again sometime.
Okay.
You like knit it, don't take it off the needle, and or you slip it back onto the left needle and knit it again. So you end up with 2 stitches, and it's just really super stretchy. And then I'm going to put my mods for if folks are interested on making the sleeves are supposed to be from the cuff up, and then you do an inset sleeve. And instead, I did sort of a Lar inspired, although the Lar sleeves, you pick up all the stitches and then you do short rows and do wrap and turns. On this one, I did, I picked up some stitches clear up top here, and then on either side I'd pick up 2 and then turn and slip that last stitch that you just picked up, and then go back to the other side and pick up 2 and then turn and slip, and then you don't have to do wrap and turns because that slip stitch bridges the gap. And so then I just went to like, I think it was 61 stitches, and then did the 12 underarm. Do I smell good? Underarm stitches, and yeah, just slowly decreased to where those weren't, and then did the decreases rather than increases that the sleeve called for. So all of that, for anybody that was knitting large, probably doesn't care, but I'm about done. If I had had a little less of sickness this past weekend and a little less lying around and being like, come on kids, please get better, then probably would be done, and I would have had a faux instead of a 1.5 sleeved cardigan. But
Very close.
this has only 2 buttons, 1 button, 2 buttons, so I should be good to go. Save the Planet messaged me and asked me where this place that I went and they find me buttons is, and I've yet to message her back. So if she watches this before I get her message back, Jenny's is downtown.
Ginny's, Ginny.
Yep, Jenny's, and she's got a whole wall of buttons. Some of them expensive, some of them cheap.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating place. It's full of really expensive fabrics, and they're seamstresses. I don't think that anybody there is a knitter, but they love when you bring in an object and say, I really want buttons to go with this, and then they go off and they love to look at the wall, and they bring them over and they talk about the different buttons, and you can look them over and they have every kind of size and shape, and and it is fun if you just like looking at buttons, because it's a wall of buttons. I mean, literally the whole wall behind their cash register is buttons.
And I got my buttons on my Lar. I should wear it instead of showing you guys off the bustier. I can show you that I have actual buttons on it, but they're matchy matchy, and they're beautiful. I also did some darning this week, not on things of my own, but one of our childcare providers' daughters needed a mitten, two mittens. The thumbs were getting threadbare, so I learned how to Swiss darn, where you actually follow the existing yarn versus online. That was interesting.
If you don't have an actual hole, that's really helpful.
Yes, so don't wait until you have an actual hole. Yes. Notice that it's threadbare and do it. It ended up, because the mitten was actually knit on, I think, probably a fingering or a sport, and they had gone out and bought like a worsted to darn it with. It's a little rumply in that spot, but it's fine. It fills the void there, and it's also a lined mitten, so she won't fill it anyway, which made it hard to weave in the ends, but I somehow managed. I kind of did the whole monster. It was like, okay, it's back there, it's been looped on itself, and then push it in and stick it out one side, and so.
Cool. Well, that was very nice of you.
Yes, yes, and then now I have the skein I think I'm going to try to make her a hat. So I just used very little. I think it was Cascade, or I can't remember what it was. It wasn't 220. It's like a acrylic merino blend.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it should be fun. Hopefully I get the hat done before it's too warm. But yeah, you get known as a knitter, and then people start asking you to darn things for them.
Kind of had a silly odds and ends. Speaking of your darning, I was watching Fiber Nymph, and she was talking about how she was teaching her daughter to spin on a wheel, and how she thought it was silly with people frustrating themselves by trying to do spindle knitting, blah 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 blah. Anyway, I have decided that I'm kind of in the camp that spindle knitting is not going to happen for me. So I think I'm probably going to throw my spindle up on D-Stash, maybe, or maybe I'll just find somebody local who wants to try it out, or I don't know. Maybe I'll put it in my knitting bag at Yarn Over, and somebody will go, "Ooh, that's beautiful." I'll be like, "It's for sale."
Yeah.
But then I've been asking friends around town if they have a wheel, and my friend Sarah just happened to say, "I'm not using my wheel if you want it." So I might have an indefinite loan from Sarah until she gets her groove back, and wants to have her wheel back. So I might be able to spin, a couple of the things of fiber I have on that wheel, and then probably knit a monster or something with it. But because I've been seeing a lot of hand spun monsters, and I'm like, that is awesome. Like you can't even really tell that it's all thick and thin and arty. It just looks like a monster, and it's beautiful. So that's my plans, and I was like, ooh, that sounds good. So that's going to be my in-queue, is to get this wheel and get a little mini lesson, and then go to town on some of the fiber that was given to me, and I bought, discounted, and I don't know, all the different types of fiber that I've got lying around.
I'm just not there yet. As much as I hate doing anything that is not knitting, like seaming and putting on buttons and whatever, right now I'm just not in that camp where spinning has any allure to me. I'd rather be knitting.
I really think that it's going to be a temporary hobby for me, in that I'm probably going to do it and enjoy what I have from it, but it's not going to take over my world, as it were. I know plenty of people who that's what they really love to do, right? And then people like Diane, who they give it a go and then they're just like hooked, But having done other things, and I don't know, I'm not sure that this is going to hook me quite as much as it has other people. But I do want to give it a try, and I want to learn it and do it, as in, like, I've needle felted, kind of thing, and I've done felted bags. It just seems like another extension of what we do. So I want to try
be a well-rounded fiber crafter.
Yeah, or if somebody then later on says, you should try spinning, I'll be like, I did.
Yeah.
I did. Maybe I'll try it again later, but I already did. And I'm excited to, have a borrowed wheel and use that as my, gateway instead of trying to rent one or worrying about
That's awesome.
shopping for one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of my up next because I have plenty of unfinished objects to work on. I don't need any more.
Yeah, I, in a fit of optimism, thought that I was going to have a little bit more to March here, but it's, if you didn't know it, it's Malabrigo March. And I've got some Malabrigo, not the superwash stuff, just their worsted, isn't it? Is it just Malabrigo worsted? Is that what it's called?
Probably, yeah.
That I was thinking that Mr. Yarn is having a knit along in the month of March for Malabrigo March. And I might do a driven out of my Azul Belita worsted Malabrigo, but I don't know that I'm going to have enough time. It's almost the middle of the month. And
you have to smoke blaze.
Yeah, the cardigan. Yeah. So that was my next up, other than a zombie, because I have that kit. I just have to skein up the yarn, and I think that'll just be the tipping point. Like, get the Dancing Dog Dye Works all ready and raring to go, and it will probably just sneak onto the needles.
Well, I only have one acquisition, so should I talk about mine first?
Sure. Yeah, okay. I have a plethora because I went a little nuts.
So I didn't have anything until I went to my local yarn shop this afternoon and talked to Deb and kind of got a feel for it. They're getting the fiber company soon. She said maybe even by Friday, so we can go in there and pet it.
Cool.
It's good stuff.
Yes.
But this is Done Roving Yarns Frolicking Feet. And it's in the Southwest Gem colorway.
That's beautiful.
And it's 100% superwash merino.
Where are they out of?
I didn't ask.
Okay. Because I saw, I'd never heard of it before, and somebody had a D-stash, Christina Knits.
Oh,
had
okay.
A D-stash of it in her yarns.
Did she buy too much?
I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe she didn't like it. I don't know. I thought the price point was pretty good. It says it's 480 yards for 4 ounces, and so it had good yardage, and it was the typical, hand-dyed sock yarn price.
Yeah, it looks pretty tightly plied.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a 2-ply. It looks to be a 2-ply. I'm not good at that. But anyway, I think this will be very pretty, and hopefully, since it's called Frolicking Feet, it will make good socks. I asked Deb, she said I hadn't heard. She had sold quite a bit of it because of the beautiful colors. But nobody had reported back to her about what, so I thought maybe I'd look into it later. But I acquired some because they had this beautiful electric blue. And I couldn't resist. They had other colors that were really cool. Like they had one that was a Christmas kind of themed colorway, and I was like, I'm just not in a Christmas mood, but it's awesome colorway. And then that's it. One.
No stash.
No, I figured
stash diving.
Good enough. I figured this would be good enough. I did get one, and it was, I don't know. Maybe Christina can email me and tell me why she was destashing it, and if she had a chance to knit with it, what she thought of it. Maybe it needs to be a shawl instead of feet on my feet. I don't know.
All right. So I got some. It's called Malabrigo Finito. It is finito because, here, let me read this. This is what got me to buy it. And if you don't want to be enabled, perhaps you should fast forward a little bit because it made me really want it. This luxurious yarn comes from the finest Uruguayan wool available in commercial volumes. It only comes to market once a year in limited quantities. We are glad to offer this yarn to help the breeders develop finer wools from their flocks. So they shear these sheep once a year.
Ooh.
And it is
soft.
Yes, it is very, very soft. Kettle dyed, pure superfine merino wool. So I don't know what the micron value is on this, but it is delish.
Wow.
The photo, I believe I got this from Eat Sleep Knit. The yellow was a lot more prominent in it.
It's a nice color.
It is a very nice color.
Gonna
I was thinking that I was going to have to find something where where the yellow was really concentrated and like jumped out at you, that it wouldn't, like, because when you wear garments that have that, some people like that look, but I'm not one of them. I really like the
nice.
It is. And it's fingering weight, and I got enough where I could do like a sabbatical, or I could do an Austin hoodie, or I could do yeah.
Speaking of sabbatical, I have some fictional yarn.
You said you didn't have any more.
Well, it's still very fictional because I am working with Tempted Yarns to buy my sabbatical yarn.
Ah.
So it's, me working with an independent dyer and finding the right base, and I think we found it. She just needs to get it in, and as soon as she gets it in, we've picked a color, and it's going to be a while, but I am excited, and cool. I think that it's going to be my happy birthday to me.
Yes, April, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, again, if you can see the pops of I was thinking it was going to be really bright pops of yellow, but it's really well blended in there. It's not like a clown barf.
They apparently got the photo wrong, because this is really nice.
Yeah. Well, I bought it off of the photo, so I obviously thought it was kind of nice the other way.
Right, but I mean...
Yeah, yes. I knew what you were saying.
This will be much better.
Yes. So, that is the Malabrigo Finito in the Estragon.
Although it's not, I think it got to me. My nose. I
then I also, I did not buy. Well, I bought. I did not buy it. You're like, how do you get Mel and Hush to send you yarn without buying it? I bought it last year because it was a club.
Right.
So this is the last of the sweater club. This is the Pashmina, the worsted Pashmina. I chose the firewood colorway, and I was kind of complaining to you that I thought it was really brown, and apparently I just looked at it in the wrong light.
Yeah.
Because it is very orange and purpley. It's a very beautiful color, and it is everything you come to expect from Pashmina. So,
right. Hand it over.
I'm enabling Amy. I don't know if you can get this yet.
Very vinegary.
Yes.
This is Malintosh.
Yes, and they dye it right up for you. So some of the skeins have a lot more purple. I was Tosh Balaz said that sometimes you don't get very well balanced, or not balanced, but very matched skeins from them, and some of them are a little more purple and like this one, like the orange really jumps out at me there, where you could definitely see a big difference. So this one might take a little more maneuvering. Very soft.
I do like the finito that you got, though. That's very nice.
Yes.
And I know that my stuff that I'm ordering from Tempted will be just as awesome, because it's going to be a fancy pants base.
Okay.
Because the pattern calls for Road to China Light, I think. So it's got to be fancy pants in order to be the right yarn.
Ooh, fancy pants?
Yeah, sure. It has to be fancy pants. Although she won't buy a sweater's worth of yarn. She doesn't have enough room.
So, to wrap up a week of lovelies, I was well, actually, the whole story goes... the story of this courting. Somebody finished finished some socks out of the Fruit Loops yarn, and I went out and I commented on her project page that it was such beautiful yarn, and I was coveting it, and I could never catch it in an update. I may or may not have convinced her to sell me. She had 2 special order spots and had ordered the Fruit Loops. 2 skeins of it. I convinced her to sell it to me. So I have my precious Fruit Loops Fiber Nymph Bounce Base Fruit Loops colorway.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I don't.
I know, but you had your Nyanka.
I know. Lisa will come out with another super awesome coveted yarn, and that's the one I'll snag, I'm sure. I'm so bad at catching updates. It's not. I mean, the Nan cat was like came out of nowhere, and I was like, whoa, yay! But no, I'm really bad at catching updates.
So I don't know if this is ever going to get knit, or if I'm just going to look at it and be like, oh. But the finished objects are so beautiful, so I should definitely knit it. But I did catch a fiber nymph update, but I did not get the Fruit Loops. I got a few other things.
Oh,
we'll see next week.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, I've been a little yarn crazy. As I said, I got a new job.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Got a raise. Went, money, yarn. What is the point of working if I can't buy my lovely? So, yeah, there will be quite a few things to show next week. Just craziness.
Good.
Not only that, but I'm not buying just yarn for myself, but I'm buying yarn for other folks as well. So I've been on a yarn buying streak. Some of it you won't see. So that is all the enabling that you can fit into one podcast.
Really, yes.
I mean,
the Pashmina and the Finito and the Fruit Loops. You're spoiled.
People are like probably sending me the hate eyes through the podcast screen. Like, God, how can you do it? I hate you.
Yeah. I am just kind of like, this was like I did not need this. I was at the local yarn shop just kind of chilling, chatting, and this one came home with me. So I think I'm good as long as I stay away from like places, you know. I'm good.
Like in front of your computer, because that's where all the yarn gets bought.
I've been very good. The computer has not tempted me, and I guess I can't say that I haven't caught any updates, because there were a couple of them from Indie Dyers that I hadn't tried yet, that apparently kind of go whoosh, you know, and I actually caught one, and a bunch of people talked about how they got what they wanted out of the shop, and I went in like the next day and it was depleted. I mean, it wasn't empty, but it was depleted, and I'm like, yeah, I'm at the place where I'm reining it in, right? I'm gonna knit some stuff. I'm reining it in. I'm not gonna be. I want to try those new dyers. I really do, but I'm reining it in, and then probably around my birthday, which is only 3 or 4 weeks away now, 1 month away, pretty much, and that's when I'll probably go nuts, because there's a yarn hop at around that time, and then there's yarn over a few weeks later. So.
If you had to track my spending, for all you indie dyers out there, they're like, how can we get Megan to buy my yarn? I'm probably more apt to buy a bunch of yarn when I've finished a huge project like this.
Oh, so stalker this week. Be like, hey, look at my shop. Hey,
so, you know, the LAR got done, and I was like, oh, look at that. That's like whatever that skein was. Yes. And I didn't even use all of it.
1,800 yards.
Yeah, 1,800 out of my stash. Woohoo! You know, and this gets done, and I'm like, oh, my Madeline Touch bin isn't overflowing anymore.
It needs to be piling out.
Yeah. I'm not happy unless I've just got, I'm just kidding. I need all the yarns, to quote Froggy Monkey, right? Must do all the things, must have all the yarns, must spin all the yarns, must finish all the projects. Uh-oh, tinking?
Oh, no, just thinking.
Thinking.
So, I thought I had it memorized, so I just went for it and went a couple stitches over. Yeah. Like, oh, back up. But that was just side tangent, and we have no idea how long this episode's going to be.
We do not.
We might need to wrap it up.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. Keep knitting those stripes. They are addicting, and
hopefully I can show, like, I don't know, non-sleeved progress. I don't know. That's a lot of knitting between now and then, but I'm pretty excited at how far I've gotten.
After I decreased for here, I finished the fronts and the back, so like the vest part of it without the sleeves, like in a weekend. You can totally do it, Ames. You can totally do it.
Yeah, the mother-in-law is coming this weekend, so there will be some car driving out to, grandparents and whatnot. So
I forgot to do my decreases here. I am giving you a hard time. Forgot to do my decreases. All right. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye. Bye, Ufta.